agencies and other collaborative agencies like even the OPDs came together and designed a program called SMILE. First, we are training inclusion so all can learn equally. The acronym is SMILE. And what are we doing? We are bringing SMILE to the faces of children who would have been kept aside, not in the so that it will form part of the SOP we are planning to draw up. With this, I want to welcome everybody, also thank everybody to be here, and wish everyone here who is to participate in this SOP a very great, successful summit. Thank you very much.
But also, we've got interest in inclusive education. Please put your hands together once again before you speak. Please put your hands together.
Mr. CJ, who is absent for some other important national assignments. The NUC is pro persons with disabilities. There is everything we do to encourage their access to education. If proper note is taken of what we do, I personally, I am of the Directorate of Students, I'm Assistant Director, Directorate of Students. And whenever we go on assignments to the universities, we ensure that universities provide facilities that support persons with disabilities. That is one of our core components in the Directorate of Students. All university administrators will bear witness to that. And concerning the access to education, it is paramount that people living with disability should be highly encouraged. Permit me to digress. In the very community I come from, there is this gentleman that was born with disability. Fortunately, he was able to access quality education. And today, he's like a cock among chickens in his own family. He's the breadwinner. So in every disability, there is ability, as always said. In every disability, there is an ability. If given the right enabling environment, especially quality access to quality education. So NUC is going to do everything within its stated mandate to keep supporting persons with disabilities. I believe stakeholders like the COREN and the infrastructure concession regulatory agencies, they may be represented here, so that other structures that come up in our universities should be disability friendly. They should be made in such a way that it will be accessible for persons with disabilities. Some persons may think that the core curriculum academic standard, the CCMAS, has recently developed in NUC. It has excluded the disability. It's not so. The core curriculum academic standards is all targeted at producing the curriculum of what should be taught in the universities. 70% of this is emanating from NUC. 30% is to come from the universities and their management for what the Senate will approve. So whatever course the universities approve, and the University Senate approved to be run in the university, they approach the National Universities Commission for what we call resource verification. And it is only those approved programs that are taught in the university. So bringing up programs, courses that should be taught in this area of disability is prerogatively the duty of the university to propose that course, and NUC is likely to approve. NUC is in support of persons with disability. I wish you a very fruitful deliberation. Thank you very much.
the establishment protocol to give the global message of Professor Lalu, the Executive Secretary, Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council, to this august body. I am the Director of Book Development Center, but also a critical stakeholder as far as the special needs education is concerned. I have my friend there, Professor who looking at me. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important summit we have all come to witness today. Permit me to give you a rundown of where we are coming from. In 1976, there was this introduction of universal primary education. The universal primary education ushered in every big Tommy and Harry, people with disabilities in different forms, into the school system. Teachers were unable to cope with the challenges associated with these children. Overpopulation, as far as the class size is concerned, and you see children just dashing to the chalkboard to peep on what has been written there and return back to their seats to write. So children, you are talking and they are talking their ears. These are some of the things that made the founding fathers of special education, the late Peter Mbam, Professor Dr. Bani, Dr. Katie Bowe of the Blessed Mary, to come up with what we call elements of special education. Elements of special education, to be taught in teacher training there. And we are aware that NC is the minimum standard for teachers to teach in our primary schools today. Minimum standard is NC. So with the abolition of the TTC then, the National Commission for Colleges Education responsibility is to cater for teachers at the primary school level. I want to ask, that's the question Professor Lalu asked me, to send across to this summit, because I know this summit is going to be an inclusive way, all comprehensive package of access and accessibility. What has happened to elements of special education in NCE awarding institutions in Nigeria? Please, organizers should take note of this place. These are some of the things he has asked me to raise at this forum. I want to ask everybody, Nigerian Institute of Architects, are they here? Nigerian Institute of Builders, are they here? Nigerian Society of Engineers, are they here? We are talking of access. It's not only education. Some of our public buildings today are not accessible to our brothers and sisters on a wheelchair. If you doubt me, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can get 2 over 5 of our public buildings that are accessible to people on a wheelchair. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to do when we move into our certificate course, so that whatever thing we are doing is going to be a comprehensive package of access and accessibility. On behalf of the Executive Secretary, sir, I should congratulate the organizers and at the same time congratulate the National Commission for Persons with Disability for the initiative in coming up with this valuable program. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Rescue Committee. Put your hands together for me. Put your hands together once more.
Thank you very much. I bring greetings from the Country Director of the International Rescue Committee. International Rescue Committee has been in Nigeria for quite a while. They work mainly in the Northeast, where a lot of disruption has happened to education. One of the core mandates that I'm involved in solving in international rescue committees since I joined them is to ensure access, continuity, and quality of education using research to solve that problem. We have just finished a study in Adamawa State. We're analyzing the data now to see who are those that are excluded when there is conflict. Normally, even the majority, they have a problem when there is conflict, like Lalu, Adamawa State. But what about those who have special needs that we don't even take account of? That's the problem we are trying to find, use research to solve. I should mention that it is not only in Nigeria that we have this issue, we have it also in South Sudan, where the conflict and the disruption is not due to human made, it is ecological. So in discussing today and tomorrow, let's not forget the environmental aspect of access to education, inclusive education. If a school gets washed up, like we found in Lokoja some time ago, what happened? Some people could run, some could walk, some could swim. There are others who could not do any of these three. So when we're looking at these issues, let's bring in the issue of ecology to our discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Professor Osegia of the Department of Special Needs Education, University of Lalu.
Chairman, sir, please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning, all of you. I guess I will be wearing 3 caps while here. First is to probably serve as a representative of our national association, the NAEC. Again, I'm supposed to present the paper and will also serve as one of the moderators. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to have been given the opportunity and the honor to be here. Let me talk on behalf of the NAEC, which is the National Association for Exceptional Children. I happen to be the current editor-in-chief of NAEC. And our president is from Bayero University, Kano. And I want to inform the House that NAEC brings greetings. It is an umbrella association of professionals in special education and disability studies. And the association was born in 1990 in Jos. I remember I was a diploma student then. The association was born in 1990 in Jos, and since then, it has branches, I guess, all over the Federation. There are state branches of the association. And the association meets every year on an annual conference. Last month, we had the conference in Kano, Bayero University, Kano, and we've been rotating in different states. The message to this summit is to the effect that inclusion generally, or accessibility as a theme of this gathering, has to do with collaboration. Any inclusive practice that lacks collaboration will fail. It will fail woefully because the first domain of inclusion while in the classroom is with the regular teacher. And of course, the regular teacher cannot do it all because the regular teacher is also deficient in methodologies for teaching and meeting the needs of persons with special needs. And therefore, inclusion has to do with collaboration. In the spirit of that collaboration, the NAEC is is a coalition of experts, and it is going to be ready in supporting the affairs of inclusion in Nigeria. NIAC turns out a race of experts, and like you all know, disabilities are in different categories. And so it is with different programs that Nigerian universities run. Different departments run different programs that cater for the needs of persons with disability. Now, let's talk about the accessibility. You know, most of the time, our mind is tilted towards only the structural accessibility. How will somebody on wheelchair get to the school? And in most cases, we forget that when the person is in the school, there is another aspect of accessibility that is content. NIAC is informing the Congress that while we discuss physical accessibility that enables individuals with special needs to access the school building, we should also remember that there is also accessibility to the curriculum. And therefore, I am charging and reminding us that the representative of the Nigerian Education Research and Development Council should not forget the fact that access to the curriculum is also a Herculean task. Because apart from teaching English, math, social studies, and that is already a regular curriculum, we have adapted curriculum. Are we thinking towards ensuring that somebody who cannot see, for instance, will not be able to read prints that has been produced by the regular curriculum, textbooks in English, in maths, in social studies, in agri, and all that? Have we thought of how a blind person can read that? Have we thought of the fact that a deaf person will be in the classroom and the regular teacher cannot sign, and there may be no interpreters? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to inform the House that NIAC is ever ready to collaborate with the Disability Commission, collaborate with the Federal Ministry of Education, as well as collaborate with the Foundation in the spirit of inclusivity. Thank you so much.
Of Special Needs Education, University of Lalu. Dr. Abuja talked about inclusive education, which is also equal right to education for everyone, especially persons with disabilities. Talks about the collaboration that inclusive education needs to collaborate, and NIAC, as he mentioned, is desirous of collaborating with the Commission, with FFF, with the Federal Ministry of Education. On that foundation, we say thank you, sir. Please, another round of applause for him.
Good morning once again. My name is Nana Elere, the Director of Book Development Center. I just want, because I was buying time, you know, NERDC has adapted a 9-year basic education for learners with visual impairment. Besides the adaptation, we have equally developed and reviewed 3 resource group-based subjects: independent living skills, reading and writing, and so we are on course and we are ready to collaborate with this foundation and at the same time collaborate with the commission to ensure successful implementation of access and accessibility in schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nandeleri. Once again, please put your hands together for me. May I put you the floor to Dr. Adeleke Owade Phillips of Special Education Department, University of Canada. You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Thank you very much. Let me maintain the existing program and appreciate the organizers of this program. The issue of inclusive education is a big task. And of course, one of the major things that worries me is when we have programs like this. We have big people that are around. We have policies. We have laws. The issue of implementation becomes a problem. I'm not just here as a university lecturer. My main route in special education is as a teacher. My current address is the University of Calabar, but I have my best year of experience as a special education teacher in Lagos State, where I coordinated inclusive education program for over 10 years. And I discovered that there is a difference between principles and practice. Like I used to tell students in my school, what we are teaching in the classroom in the university is different from what we are going to encounter on the field. We are talking about inclusion. What exactly is inclusive education? Some of us are confused. We want children with disabilities to be in the regular class. Yes, it's good. But here is our secretary, Mr. Lalu. If this man that is signing is not here, all we are saying is rubbish. It's completely out of what we are saying. I have Dr. Adebayo here. If you ask him, which one will he prefer? Or a child with visual impairment? Is it to be in the regular class or separate class for children with visual impairment? I know he has his own point. Inclusion, in most cases, we are confused. I have it as experience where we have our children with regular class, special children in the regular class, but they are comfortably excluded. In most cases, regular classroom placement is another process of exclusion from learning. Especially in Nigeria, where we have not been able to take it the way it should be. Facilities are not available. Personnel are not available. You see children with diverse needs, with only one particular teacher teaching children with intellectual disability. Or you have a child that has intellectual disability at the age of 16, who cannot even feed self. And you want him to be in the regular class. And he's dropping saliva every minute. And unfortunately, if he eats beans, the whole cloth is thick with beans. The whole other children, they cannot even cook. It's a confusing thing. But I will thank the organizer because this type of summit is bringing us together so that you will bring what you have and submit it on their table. Is it not summit? And we are bringing it to submit to you. So bring your idea from every corner. Let us x-ray what we have and know how best to practice this inclusion. Not to emphasize that our children must be in this class where learning is not taking place, but to make sure that even if a child is in a separate school, in a separate class, that learning, that quality education is assessed by every child. That should be the hallmark of our focus. And I want to appeal to every one of us to please stay till the end of this program. Thank you very much.
I read so that we will understand properly what inclusive education is. Please, another round of applause. May I quickly recognize the presence of our very own Dr. Adebukola Adebayo, the World Bank Technical Assistant to the Executive Secretary, National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. Please put your hands together. Let me invite my colleague and friend, Mr. Stanley Oyebuchi, the President of the Association of Blind Nigeria. Please come forward for your good wishes. Put your hands together for him. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stanley Onyebuchi, the President, Nigeria Association of the Blind. I'm today representing the National President, Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities. Please permit me to stand on already existing protocol. First, I want to thank the organizers of this event for organizing this very wonderful seminar, which is all about sensitizing the public about inclusive education. We persons with disability, in fact, whenever there is a gathering that talks about inclusive education, we feel happy because we have our brothers and sisters that are in the rural area that cannot come to the city to pursue their education. So that's why we're always happy. But unfortunately, the way the implementation of this inclusive education is going, personally, I'm afraid if it can get to those our brothers and sisters in the rural area. So I want to use this opportunity to call the MDAs that it is their responsible for the implementation of this inclusive education. So please do the needful. We have so many policies, documents in this country, but the problem is the implementation. Please do more towards the implementation so that persons with disability will benefit from the education sector. Just like I said 2 days ago, the key to success of every person with disability is education. And please, knowing that it is education, we are pleading on behalf of the President of the Joint National Association of Persons with Disability that every organization should please do the needful. And I also want to appeal to the organizers of this event that next time invite the National Library. Just like one of the speakers have mentioned, some other organizations that are supposed to be here, like the Builders and Engineering Association and the rest of them. They should be here because when we are talking about access to education, sometimes some of the schools, the structures there, discourage our members from, registering in the schools that are close to their communities or neighborhood, because some of these schools are not friendly. And also I expected the National Library Board should be here. I visited the National Library Board. They have no any text that is accessible or that is in accessible format for a visual impaired person to read. So I expected them to be here. So please, we should all do the needful. If you are not a person with disability, no one can say he doesn't have a relation that has one disability right now. Please let us do the needful towards the implementation of all these policies. Thank you. I'm the president of Nigeria Association of the Blind, and he was here on the podium to speak for the president of the Joint Association of Persons with Disabilities, Jonathan. Please another round of applause for him. On this juncture, may I quickly invite my peers, the Executive Secretary,
All orders that are here with you. The Peter Regional Defense Patrimo for the Server International and all other supporting organizations that are here with you. Good morning. I am very, very happy to meet you. I see all our invited guests here to explain on behalf of the disability community and the management of the national community for persons with disabilities here very much. Our distinguished speaker, Professor Deputy of Education, you were to thank you for accepting to be here with us. Independent travel all our way from your home to join us. We community thank the more foundation for the wonderful support. Sorry, but are you hearing me now? Yes. Hearing me now? Yes, I'm not there, so I cannot even know whether the question is going or it don't going. I want to take this opportunity to appreciate our partner, the Foundation, for coming to us, establishing the strong foundation. When I had bring this idea, we are here because of our access to education for persons with disabilities. Since I was in secondary school, we used to do debate in education, access to education, access to disabilities. We go there and stand and do the debate. Today we are here as the implementers of the policy. The debate we used to do in secondary school, now the opportunity is now in our hands again to make it happen. There is begin. When I went to the law establishing the National Commission for Disabilities, when I see the burden and responsibilities in this institution, when I see the wider aspect of the assignment on this side of education, is even enough to establish another institution. Yes. When you look at the teaching of the Federal Ministry for Education, it is a very large institution. And when we are talking about access to education for persons with disabilities, it simply means collaborating with each and every agency in that Federal Ministry of Education. You can only imagine the number they are. Last time when I had the meeting with the permanent secretary of the Federal Ministry of Education, I told him, I said, that you have a very large duty, you have a very large responsibility. You are owing the disability community a very low dignity, and that we need to do everything possible to create a community for education for disabilities in Nigeria. Education, as we say, we know it is the bedrock of every society, the foundation for everything. When we talk about fighting poverty, we have to work on education. When we talk about fighting crime, we have to work on education. When we talk about even the government with ACTG, even no one behind. The mantra, even no one behind. The people that were behind already, we are only persons with disabilities. Now the mantra is coming within the Republic from PI to the from corner of nationality. Yeah. The National Educational Research and Development Center is an institution have a very big duty. When you look at section 18, section 19, section 20 of the discrimination against persons with disabilities, there is a need to do a lot from our primary level. The issue of curriculum is very, very important. Today, I am not here and by the grace of God, I have my small children at home. They will go to school and they come back. I was told that I will always continue to ask me, mostly, why are you not hearing me? This is something that continues to touch me in my heart. I do remember was some of my friends came to visit us at home. One was an amputee. When he came and sat down, they were not nice and he went there and asked what happened to the leg. There was a scene when they grow. Enlightenment about disability. Enlightenment about disability. Knowledge about disability must start from our primary school course. The curriculum for CV education, is very important for us in that understanding of disability. No matter how minor, no matter how small that can be in the CV education, our children, as they learn to know about drug abuse, it's important for them to know about disability right from the foundation of their education. It helps managing discrimination against persons with disabilities and creating awareness from the root. It is very important for us to know how we can be able to make disability as part of the society. As we continue to understand that disability is part of human diversity, disability must be understood by our own children from the primary. Our advocacy for a GST program in our tertiary institutions to provide understanding of disability and inclusivity is still ongoing. The Nigeria University Commission is here with us here. You have a duty for that CC Mass curriculum you develop. There is a need for somebody in that curriculum to accommodate disability. We have said it very clearly that disability as it is. Today we have very, very intelligent and smart persons with disabilities today in Nigeria who hold PhD. Some of them are professors. They went and studied outside of the country. They came back with a lot of knowledge in their head. We have them, some of them are here, within Abuja here. Some of them do not even have work at the moment. What they know about disability is beyond what we can compose into speciality. As I said in the last conference, we jammed that disability beyond inclusivity. There are a lot of things around disability. That was why we are even advocating for the establishment of a faculty of disability studies. Go to university, college, Lalu. Go to different universities you will see what they are doing about disability. It is a lot, you have a lot. Today, the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities has gone with the National Accessibility Regulation. When you look into this matter of accessibility, it goes beyond the simple realm of In a particular building like this, there must be consideration for accessibility for the public, accessibility for the deaf, accessibility for different types of disabilities. There are specific measurements and standards for accessibility for persons on a wheelchair, accessibility for persons on a crutches, and different other things. That was why in our discussion with the Federal Ministry for Work, we concluded that there is the need for the introduction of accessibility engineering, I suppose, in our Nigerian university. That is the only way we can be able to have experts that will come out from the university as independent consultants who know about accessibility. Today, our architects, our civil engineers, and others, when you talk about accessibility, most of them, they face the confidence, no problem, we are going to put up, no problem, we are going to put up. RAM is not the only thing. And when you talk about RAM, there are RAM providers. When you have a place where you can buy a car, once the condition is high, you do RAM for the there are RAM for 6 days. Draw 6 days in the airport and different places. You can't just do any slope like that and call it a RAM for disability. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. From electrification, a very big, there are specifications. When you go to the toilet, the plumbing, the design, and everything in the toilet, how to incorporate certain specific standardization for accessibility for disability. So when you look around this, whether university last year, we will continue to have this we open-minded. When we came up with the best thing we did, test the ground in the Federal University last year was to establish a degree program in Salem. That degree program in Salem was already been established. When we are talking about inclusive education, assistive education, you can see that they have the barrier in community. Number of sign language that is needed today in Nigeria is very, very high. From our hospital down to our primary school, secondary school, look at the numbers today in Nigeria. The law says it's an area of this school as supposed to have specialists. We understand. It's very, very important for that to bridge the gap in the community. We must initiate a process for the production of the language in Nigeria to go beyond the little number we may have at the moment. We go to different places, there are really experts that are needed everywhere. When you want to provide inclusive education from the primary school, to open the door for the blind to then access to that school, you must get it really. To use this opportunity to appreciate the Nigeria Copyright Commission for amending their provide a section, to provide a special consideration for the translation of documents into French. It does not require you to even go and seek the consent of the world. As long as you are doing it completely and for the use of the blind people, the law has protected. Now, our books from primary school, secondary school, all of the state schools, the Universal Basic Education Commission continue to buy and distribute. They don't produce and distribute. I have engaged them in different discussions at different levels of the education who happen to be like a father to me, but the colleague in the field, and I see him that way. So we have engagement all along in that way. But today, a mass requirement for this across the country is very. Today, to be able to dignify, give respect to the disability community in Nigeria, the Federal House of Representatives, a form of which they are the standing committee on this. The Naya Assembly started, this committee started in the Naya Assembly, and then the 10 Assembly are the committee. part of their own internal rules here that is brought to this committee. Can you imagine that the whole total number of 27 honorable members have been committed to look and work on disability in the National Assembly? We will continue to salute the National Assembly, our honorable, for the carrying mandate of their constituencies. When you hear carrying mandate, it is a heavy thing, because they are coming to Abuja. Go and collect money and carry it. That is the mandate. That is the mandate. Our honorable chairman is here with us. When he came in, there is a woman, he is a medical doctor who have a passion for the disability community. And when he review our law, he said that there is need for amendment. He is right now working on his own side. There are a lot of things to be brought into it. The law has been there, yes, the struggle for the disability community from Nigeria. We must continue to appreciate the disability community because they initiated this for more than almost 90 years before the attention of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was captured. The community can stand together, to unite together so strongly like that, to be able to come up with a law that protects their rights and dignity. It is something that has happened in different other countries. I was in Kenya just recently, and the Kenyan community are telling me that they want to invite me to come back very soon, that they are going to celebrate 20 years of the law. 20 years of an establishment of the Kenyan National Council on Disability. 20 years of the government attention to disability community. 20 years. And here in Nigeria, we are the giant of Africa. We are here. We must be good. Thank God that we are going to escape. We are going to escape. We are going. Access to education for persons with disabilities in Nigeria is a responsibility for all of us, and we must do everything possible in our activity. I would like to say the message. Nigeria Educational Research and Development carries this message from me. You are here. I am coming. I will come to your office. We must come down and sit down together. If we don't do it the way we want it, the honorable members sit closer to you. I will come and report you there. I will come and report you there. And they will do public hearing for you. So that we must get it right. You must get it right. For NUC, you are hearing me, yes. I am telling you, sending you the message that tell you again, I am coming back again. I will come back again. And that the highest office we are going to report to is the honorable member closer to you. And he is already hearing. So we must do everything possible, not minding deadline or timeline. We must give special attention to be able to resolve a lot of things on ground. A lot of challenges on ground. Today, if we are able to have a GST course on disability and inclusivity development in our university today, you can see we have a lot of graduates that are coming up. A lot of graduates, when they come up, they don't even understand disability. Whether you study physics, whether you study chemistry, whatever course you study in the university, you have a duty and a responsibility in your area of profession. Provide us to the disability community. That is why we feel it very important when this course is introduced in our tertiary institutions, we are going to get something right. We are going to get it right. We have lawyers today graduated from Nigeria universities as lawyers until when they come out, before they be hearing about laws, United Nations Convention, Disabilities, about disability rights, how to protect disability rights, and this and this and this and this and this. Okay, imagine this. So as long as the essence of education today in Nigeria is to acquire the necessary skills to be able to solve our immediate problems and challenges as a country, disability is part of that problem. Disability is part of that challenges that we must put our hands together to address the challenges before us. To all of us that are gathered here, the message we always say is that when you see somebody who comes, or you see somebody who comes here, like it, he was not born like. There are some we are actually born like that. There are some who are in our day later life. As I can tell you today, I did my primary school, secondary school, I was here. It was in ACE, passed to the college of education. My last year at the time, it was there that I started to discover another word. But truly, when I was hearing, I can't even imagine that we have the Lord but when I received that transition, the message from God, I have to say, it's not easy when you transform into a person with a disability. Even accept it, it is not an easy thing. And therefore, today, the psychological trauma is already there. The environmental challenges are already there, and they are being created every day. So sometimes I receive text messages from persons with disabilities. Somebody was texting me that he needed the job. I told him, I said, when we get the opportunity, we will engage. We will get the job. Then he started asking me, was it his fault to become a person with disability? Did the society reject him around? We are presently addressing another challenge with the NNPC. Somebody who was working in NNPC, he lost his, he have a disability, and he was out. All of us that are gathered here, from here we are going to commence a lot of discussion to come up with a working document. I am pushing you to very big. And I hope that after this discussion we have a very strong document that we are going to go with it. And I am going to assure you that when the document comes out, whichever institution is responsible for it to achieve that, we will do that. We will do that. Federal Ministry for Education, I am happy to always say the present Minister for Education is somebody I know him very closely. We have worked with him in our own party, economic party here in program. We have worked with him very closely in our own party, and I understand how nice this man is. So calm. The Minister of State is also very, very passionate. He would have been here with us today because of that meeting in the presidency. All of us have been shown to go there. I thank the Secretary for here who was here for education. The honorable members that is here, they turned down that presidency invitation to be here with us. That is to show their commitment to the state. We use this opportunity, honorable members. The Secretary could just sit there. And then I want to say, let me bring my talks to a close because I can talk endlessly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very much. We are hearing us here. We are coming to continue that. We are asking to see the community. We are going to if you are already doing their place there, you will also do everything. Thank you, thank you.
You see, DS has been able to tell us that the concept of leaving no one behind is yielding problems, because the issues of persons with disabilities are now in the front line. That brings us to continuous advocacy, enlightenment. You know, he said that the issue of inclusive education should be included in curriculum, right from basic education, right from primary school, for our children, so that at the end of the day, when we graduate from the university, we'll all be conversant with phrases like persons with disabilities, disability right, and so on and so forth. Please, another round of applause. May I use this opportunity to recognize the presence of Dr. Hafsat Nawab Kotangora. Kotangora is the Head Capacity Development Digital Research Center. You please put your hands together. And I also wish to recognize the foot soldiers of the Executive Secretary, the directors and heads of unit of the commission that are here present, Mr. Lawrence Demudia of Social Integration, and Mrs. Olanike Akimbola that is here. Thank you. And I still want to yield the floor once again for the representative of the site savers, Dr. Grace Ilya. For a little clip. Okay, there's a change on that. Sorry. Please, ma'am, I beg your pardon. You must be patient. So on that note, may I quickly invite the Honorable Dr. Bashiru Abdu, the Chairman, House Committee on Disability, and member representing Osho, Isolo, Constituency 1, Lagos State, and open Dr. Bashiru Abdu. You're welcome, sir. Please, let's take our seats. Very soon, we'll go for break, but let's listen attentively to our doctor. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much. And bring greetings from your house, the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. I think that generally we say all protocols are observed, but I would still like to mention the special recognition of the representative of the Honorable Minister, the ES, Mr. James Lalu, the members of the Federal Ministry of Education and the Foundation, FFF, partners, fellow colleagues on the IT group, and everyone here. Thank you very much, host, for organizing this very, very important program. And this could not have come at a better time when we in the House are about to kickstart our awareness program. And someone was asking me that, is there actually a committee on disabilities in the House or the National Assembly, because it's not in the Senate? Yes, there is. That's one of the results of your long-term advocacy for that. And here you have it in your list. Now, I think it was also of note that somebody was, there's a perception of what you hear in the media, that usually what happens in your house is even share money. I would like to let us know that there are three major functions of the representatives that you send to Abuja. One is to make laws. And that law is one of the reasons we're here today. Your assembly worked for you. You can say it took time, but now today you have an act. Another part of the function of the members of the House of Representatives is oversight. And part of that oversight is one of the reasons we're also here today. That you have a law, but the law needs to be implemented. Although considering the fact that the implementation is supposed to start January 2024. Why do we talk about implementation? It's very rare and almost impossible for rights to be given to you a la carte. In the history of man, people fight for their rights. But with persistence and dedication, we get there. And we are actually moving along. You might say slowly, but we are. Why am I saying that? Everything I've heard here today tells me that the awareness I'm talking about is extremely important. Why? When we are talking about inclusive education, it's the law of the land. That's the law. And I would advise whoever has not seen that law, it's online. You can either download or you can get a copy and take promotion. And this is called Discrimination of Persons with Disability Prohibition Act of 2018. And it's important to know why you should take a look at that. Because in section 1, it prohibits discrimination. And by the way, that goes with penalty. It's not only that someone can discriminate against a person with disability, but it's something that is sanctioned. Sometimes, depending on the situation, you can even go to jail for that. So the second part is awareness. I think when they were talking about the organizations that are up here, one is the Ministry of Information, Mr. Lalu. It's in the law under section 2 that the Ministry of Information is supposed to create awareness about the dignity and respect and the rights and capabilities of persons with disabilities. That's the law of Nigeria. It's important to really understand that. And my colleague on the timetable was talking about access, physical access. That's the law. You have a right to access. You have a right to access aids, including things like sidewalks, not even just what we generally talk about. It's the law of Nigeria. Now, the one that is of concern to us today is section 5. Mind you, I'm just taking this opportunity because I know that some of us are not aware of these things. Under section 5. Section 5.1. The mother cannot take the child that has disability and use to beg all about it. It's illegal when the child is supposed to be in school. That is section 1. Section 2. When the law says the right to free education, it's not saying just a right. It's an unfettered right that the person with disability has to get a free education up to secondary school level. And tertiary education has to be subsidized. That's the law. Now, inclusive education, section 18. Everything you are saying here in this summit, there's a legal backing for it. That the education of persons with disability is improving in every aspect of our education. The personnel, like the interpreters, and people that assist, their education is supposed to be subsidized. You see that in 519. In 20, what we are supposed to get by law is appropriate education. That's the project. And section 20 goes further to talk about trained personnel, special facilities, and on and on and on. I just pick those parts of the law to know that you already have on the ground. What we need to do is to implement the law. And like the ES is saying, that is something that is going to be done between the House and in conjunction with the Commission and the civil society. No doubt about that. Why is all this important? Which is the little thing I will say before I sit down. Sometimes, it's why those of us, quote and unquote, that they say we are able. As a doctor, I know that ability is very relative. But a lot of people may not be aware of that. And when people ask me, I share my experience. The one that I think is relevant, whatever situation I find myself. There's a gentleman, he's a medical doctor like me. He's based in Baraki. He used to be the chairman of Minnesota. He had, or has, but he's still around, muscular dystrophy. So from Lalu, he was born like that. He had difficulty to walk. So at my age now, when I look back, I see him as my own hero. Because I don't think, sometimes I think it was impossible to look at what he did. What did he do? We were in a college in Lagos called King's College. In King's College, at that time, he had to struggle to go through the stairs. So that means that in the dawn, he has to wake up 2 hours before classes. When we got admission into Unilag College of Medicine, Dr. Oki would wake up, not forgetting the fact that other classmates didn't want to stay in the same room with him, which is the discrimination we're talking about. I was his roommate, torture. What did that mean? You wake up 3 hours before lecture. So, you know how it is in a medical school now, you have to go for ward rounds. So that means he has to climb the steps. Because some of the wards are on the top floor, where there was no elevator. So this man would take 3 hours to get there. Not forgetting that in medicine, you have to do training like in obstetrics and gynecology. And you are now expecting this man that is being discriminated against the way he looks to now take the deliveries and examine the home. So you can imagine that level of rejection. But the moral of that story is that this hospital in Baraki is the biggest hospital. He has taken care of more Nigerians than a lot of people, so-called able people. I'll share this message with you to know that everything we are going to do in the next 2 days is for the betterment of all of us. Thank you very much for inviting me. Member representing Oshodi is Charlotte, constituency 1 Lagos. The doctor has, as a medical doctor, you'll be able to let us know that you cannot pride yourself as a person without disability until the day you say goodbye to this world. And anything could occur at any time. So we are all persons with disabilities in different ways. As we are, as I am, sometimes I see myself as one. Because I'm the kind of person who reads till midnight, till 2 o'clock. I don't sleep. When you have insomnia, it's a kind of disability. Yeah. So the way I cure that is to keep on reading. Put your hands together for the doctor. May I quickly recognize Yusuf Gamania? Gamawa, please, I beg your pardon. Is here representing the Executive Secretary. Please put your hands together. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I crave your indulgence to be upstanding and assist me in inviting to be upstanding, please. The Honorable Minister of State Education, being represented by Dr. Mrs. Clarice Ugamani, the chairman. You're welcome, man. Put your hands together.
Thank you very much. Please, kindly sit down. I appreciate the honor. Thank you. My name is Dr. Mrs. Clarice Ugamani. I bring greetings from the Honorable Minister of Education, Professor Tahil Maman, OON, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. I also bring greetings from the Honorable Minister of State for Education, Honorable Dr. Yusuf Tanku Sululu, the Executive Secretary, National Commission for Persons with Disability. I acknowledge the presence of the House Committee Chair on Disability. I also acknowledge the presence of all the distinguished researchers, professors, and doctors in their various fields in the field of special education. I recognize the presence of all the partners, development partners with the Commission, and I'm also here with some of my colleagues from the Federal Ministry of Education. It's the desire of the Honorable Ministers to be here, just like the ES said, but for some other assignments that required their presence in the villa, they had to send me and others to represent them here. So I now read their address. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this National Summit on Access to Education for Persons with Disabilities. I want to start by commending the organizers of this program, Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disability, and Festus Fajimilo Foundation for their relentless drive in championing the cause of persons with disabilities, especially your doggedness, tenacity, and push in seeing that persons with disabilities have a voice and do not only speak, but are heard. The importance of this meeting cannot be overemphasized, especially as the implementation of national inclusive policy on education is a key to social inclusion, job opportunity, and independent living for persons with disabilities. Inclusive education is defined as a process of addressing and responding to the diverse needs of all learners by increasing participation in learning and reducing exclusion within and from education. This means that all learners have the right to quality education that caters to the extent possible for their individual needs. Some countries around the world, including some states and schools in Nigeria, have been promoting inclusive education policies and practices. Inclusive education entails an educational system which allows all students, irrespective of their physical and cognitive disabilities, to receive instruction in the same setting. The concept inclusion, inclusiveness, is a radical departure from the traditional segregation approach of educating children with disabilities, which involves the adoption of regular school practice to suit the needs of children with disabilities. The inclusive system of education is persuasive in molding the personality attributes of special needs learners alongside with the able body in the quest and development of functional literacy. Thus, this system of education that is all inclusive streamlines the training of mindset and character along the line that determines the development of individuals, society, and the nation. The inclusive education system provides for an enriched school environment that has facilities which comprise the site buildings, the playgrounds, health facilities, instructional materials, and all forms of school equipment and facilities, including the well-emphasized curriculum that we have heard here. In the education sector, giant strides have been made by putting in place policies such as National Policy on Inclusive Education and its implementation guidelines, National Policy on Special Needs Education and its implementation guidelines, and the National Policy on Albinism and its implementation guidelines. All these policies are geared towards improving provisions for independent living for persons with disabilities in Nigeria. It is important that all stakeholders and key holders key into the implementation for the benefit of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. I therefore urge the beneficiaries of this two-day summit on access to education for persons with disability program to take it seriously, as it will enhance self-reliance, self-satisfaction, and higher self-esteem. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to inform this gathering that the present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is fully committed to overhauling the education sector and making a significant impact in the education sector as a matter of priority. The administration is ready to triple education spending over the next 4 years, from the current 8% to over 25%, and will revive technical and vocational education by establishing local technical institutes to absorb the millions of young school leavers, and will initiate creative ways of funding tertiary education and to end the culture of strike in our higher institutions. These and many more are the priorities of the present administration. And for the Federal Ministry of Education presently working, is a committee that has been set up to look into the education sector strategic plan. And you can be sure that the outcome of this summit will be included in the strategic plan. Please, at the end of the 2 days, it is necessary that you submit the outcome so that it will be included in the strategic plan. And it is when it is included in the strategic plan that it will make implementation, execution of the policy very, very possible and impactful upon everyone. In conclusion, promoting and enhancing the development of the policy statement of special needs. I thank you all for making our time to be at this 2-day National Summit on access to education for persons with disability. And I wish you and every one of us fruitful, impactful deliberations that will give us the required outcome in the education sector. Before I say thank you, I want at this juncture to actually wish on behalf of the honorable ministers that sent me to declare this summit open for impactful, fruitful, qualitative deliberations. Thank you very much.
Represented by Dr. Mrs. Clarice Jami, with the IC Technical to the Ministry. Thank you, ma'am. The Honorable Minister has advised us to take this summit very seriously, so that at the end of the day, the impact will be self-reliance, self-satisfaction, and higher self-esteem. Please put your hands together. And no plate, next you know who, no board. So it's time for us to have a brief refreshment. But before we do that, we all gather together, especially members of the Army Table, for our good fortune, to preserve the memories of today. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for me.